long has it been since you last saw the green grass? This single step is a journey of thousands of miles, a story of hope beginning. A promise made 40 years ago, when a different lion waited in the very same despair.
This is where our story connects the past to the present. This is Leo and Kira. They don't just search for ancient relics. Sometimes they find forgotten stories.
And today's story begins in a cold, dark place, thousands of miles away from home.
A story of an adult Barbary lioness named Yuna, whose world was nothing but 4 concrete walls.
Even Gizmo could feel the sadness. He knew this was wrong.
This is Yuna. For years, her entire world, there was no green grass, no friends to play with, and no warm sunshine to sleep under. No green grass, no friends to play with, no warm sunshine.
She was trapped by more than just bars. She was trapped by loneliness.
This image, it is truly hard to believe this is happening in our world.
Kira's empathy always turned into action. She couldn't just stand by and watch.
And thankfully, there were people who were already listening to that silent call. A team of heroes who specialized in rescuing the forgotten, led by one special middle-aged East Asian man.
Yuna was not the only one. She was a victim of the illegal wildlife trade. Trapped by a lock that represented indifference, her spirit was fading away. Abandoned and alone, she was losing hope, losing her wild instincts.
This is Cameron. When he heard Yuna's story, he knew he had to act.
He looks so determined. He's really going to save her, isn't he? They watched the rescue team's long journey, tracking their every move.
A cross-country rescue mission.
But this story didn't just start with Cameron. It started long, long ago.
40 years ago.
Another set of bars, another concrete box, another lost lion. This was Peter Sampson, Cameron's grandfather, a man who believed every animal deserved freedom. And inside that cage was Bobby, a lion who had also forgotten what the sky looked like. Peter faced the same 4 walls, the same heavy lock, and he made a promise. He promised to give Bobby a life, not just an existence in a box. 2 generations, 1 mission. History was repeating itself in a remarkable way.
Unbelievable, exactly the same. Kira couldn't believe her eyes. It was the exact same cage, the exact same story.
Leo understood. A promise like this was a legacy that had to be protected. And now, Cameron had to finish what his grandfather started all those years ago. After a long and difficult journey, the rescue team finally arrived at the cold, silent location. They were here. The team had braved every single obstacle to find Yuna.
Yuna didn't understand. After years of silence, she was terrified of these new visitors.
This was the decisive moment. The heavy door to her dark past was finally about to open. With one single turn, the sound of hope finally echoed in the cold, silent air.
The door screeched open, revealing a strange new world she had almost forgotten.
Back in the lab, Kira and Leo watched the live holographic feed, barely daring to breathe. That was the first step, the hardest step, towards a brand new life.
The truck rolled away, carrying a middle-aged Hispanic woman named Yuna on the first leg of her long journey home.
A long journey began, traveling across countries, crossing over the ocean to safety.
She was still very scared, but something was different. The air was no longer icy cold.
She was flying towards a new place, a place she was told would be her real home.
Finally, the truck arrived at its destination, the Big Cat Sanctuary in England.
Her new home was ready. A whole new world was waiting just for her.
The crate was positioned. The moment of truth had finally arrived for Yuna. This was the moment Cameron had been working for. He was thinking of his grandfather. He remembered the story of Peter, who stood in this exact same position. And now, 40 years later, it was Cameron's turn to finally open the door. What could she smell? Was this the forgotten scent of freedom?
She was hesitant, unsure if that strange, soft, new world was actually real.
Back in the lab, watching the live holographic feed, Kira felt a wave of pure happiness.
Even Leo, who always focused on the data, couldn't help but smile at this.
Go on, Yuna, go! The whole world is cheering for you right now.
She stood still for a long moment, simply feeling the soft, cool grass beneath her paws. For the very first time in her memory, she truly felt the warm sunlight on her back. This was real. The sun was real. This new life was finally beginning. Her stiff muscles began to remember what they were for. This was running. From 4 square meters of cold concrete to a whole wide world of her own. She was clumsy at first, but her instincts were returning. She was finally remembering how to play.
Cameron's smile was the continuation of his grandfather's promise from 40 years ago. He was seeing the exact same joy his grandfather, Peter, saw in Bobby all those years ago.
Both Bobby and Yuna had been rescued. They were both given their lives back by one family.
Yuna's story didn't just rescue one lion. It was a powerful story that inspired new guardians.
It inspired new ideas, new ways to help, and new ways to connect with our world.
It inspires new guardians, just like Leo and Kira, to carry on this important legacy. They were finding their own unique way to spread Yuna's message of hope and survival.
The story of Yuna and Bobby was shared with the entire world.
It became a powerful reminder for everyone who heard it. Kindness is a legacy. The story of Yuna and Bobby, shared online, reached new guardians all across the globe.
It reminded every single one of us that no act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted.
Cameron carried out his grandfather's mission, teaching a new generation about conservation.
A legacy. It is not just something you leave behind when you are gone.
It's a promise to the future, a promise that you will always try to help.
They stood watching the sunset, just as Peter and Cameron had surely done before.
We can build our own legacy too, right? Kira looked over at Leo, a new, determined spark in her eyes.
Leo nodded. They would build it by taking action, and by never, ever forgetting.
They would build their legacy by using their art to share stories of hope.
And they would build it by using their inventions to remind the world of its beauty.
From a 4x4 concrete cage, Yuna now had the entire sky as her roof. She was no longer a prisoner of a tiny square. She was finally, truly free.
She was the living, breathing proof of a promise that was finally kept.
A promise made 40 years ago had finally been fulfilled by the next generation.
And this powerful story reminds us all of something very important.
That every living thing, no matter how big or small,
deserves to live a life that is filled with kindness.
And that your courage and your empathy can truly, truly change the world.
It is a legacy of kindness that belongs to every single one of us.